Welcome, everybody, to this meeting. Should have been a podcast. I'm Tom Shin here with Tom Horn, and we're excited to bring you one of our favorite people in the world, Claire Stroh. Claire's one of the talent leaders at ATI. She is owner of Claire's Coaching and also an adjunct professor at Niagara University, among a million other things she's got going on. So welcome, Claire, for joining us. Tom, as always, it's great to see you.
Good to be back, Claire. Good to be back with you. This is our first time podcasting remotely together.
Yes, and I'm so excited for y'all in season 2. So I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, you're the highlight keynote kickoff.
Perfect.
Do you remember when we recorded, we had that podcast, everything was going great, and then all of a sudden these giant clouds came over. We're sitting at a pool. I'm going to paint the picture. Claire and I are at the pool, drinks in hand, nice podcast, and then all of a sudden the skies just got black, and we were like, oh God, wrap it up, wrap it up. Like, do you remember that? That was crazy.
I do remember that, actually. But luckily, yeah, we had everything we needed. The conversation was great. So we were able to
You just got to
plan
land
for the weather real quick.
land the plane and run. So we're much safer today.
Yes, we're all inside, so we won't have any weather problems.
Where are we talking from today? Where are you at? Are you in Buffalo? You're back in Buffalo? You were in Denver? Like, where in the world is Carmen Santiago?
I know, I'm traveling around a lot lately, but still living full time in Buffalo. But I have been what I'm calling workationing
Ooh, I like
from
that.
Miami for the past few weeks. I don't know actually why it's workationing, because I'm actually not taking any type of vacation. I'm just continuing to do my job, teaching and working just from a different location. I'm fully remote anyways from Buffalo. So we had single digit temps in Buffalo for the month of January. So I was like, I need to get out of here for a little bit, just enjoy the sunshine, but heading back to Buffalo in a few days.
Well, hopefully it's warmer there. I mean, I know this week is pretty warm, but hopefully by the time you get back, it'll still hold some of this warmth and the snow will be melted for you when you get up there.
Yeah, Tom, you know how that goes. It's fake spring. It'll be back snowing like next week.
I think of like the hobbits in Lord of the Rings, where they talk about first lunch and second lunch and noonsies and this and that and the other. And that's sort of our weather. It's like you have all the snow and then you have August and July.
Well, like we've had more 60-degree plus days than Myrtle Beach here in Denver. It's been wild. Through the first part of January, we were beating Atlanta and Las Vegas for a while. Like, I mean, it's been nuts. But I also know this is our snowiest month of the year, followed by the second snowiest in April. So it's like right as I start getting excited for spring, it just like comes back. So I hear you. It's only getting weirder.
Yeah, it was a weird weather year, because I know you ski, right, Tom H?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I have friends that ski and snowboard as well, and they usually take their trips out west. And this winter, they had to like stay in Vermont and stay east, because there was actually like no snow in Montana and Colorado and like where they would usually go. And I guess locals, were saying like this is the worst like snow we've had in years at this time. So it was a weird year.
It is. I finally superseded my days golfing this winter with days skiing. And then followed immediately up with another day of golf. So at some point, I'm going to get good at golf, because the weather here is starting to be less ski and more golfy.
Yeah.
Denver sounds like so much fun. It sounds like so much fun. I was telling somebody else I hadn't been out to Denver since, I don't know, 25 years ago. So I'm a little jealous. So I'll have to make a trek out there. But Claire, you were just out there, right? You were speaking at Mile High SHRM, and amongst all the many busy things that we mentioned, let's start there. What you're rocking and rolling on so many fronts, and that's always been the case since both of us have met you. You're always on the go, so much vim and vigor and energy on things. How do you do it? What tell us about Mile High SHRM and what's going on these days?
Thanks, Tom. I appreciate that. And yeah, I was just in Denver it was only for 24 hours. Of course, I would have hit you up, Tom, if I had longer.
Yeah, I'm not offended. I was going to let it go.
But yeah, Mile High SHRM was February 27th. It was a great full day event. And yeah, I have so many friends there from a few months that I lived there in 2023. So it was great to be back with the Denver HR community for a day of learning. And my topic I've been doing is recruiting best practices. It's been received pretty well. This was my third time doing it. I did it in the fall for our third Tom Daniels in Ohio, for Northwest
Love that guy.
Ohio SHRM. Yep, love
Shout
Tom
out, Tom.
Daniels. Yeah, shout out. And then Tim Sackett does a Michigan Recruiters Conference, so that's where I actually got to debut the new topic. But really well received. So really good room of HR and TA pros. Just talking about recruiting processes, mapping that out from the time a rec needs identified to offer, and all the like the technology, people, tools needed kind of throughout that whole process, and where some areas for best practices are and things like that. So yeah, looking forward to more of those speaking opportunities this year, among working full time, having career coaching clients in my LLC, and teaching my students. But the students do wrap up in May. So I'm hoping to do some more traveling and speaking after the semester.
Awesome. Is this where we get to ask, like, what are you talking about? Like, what are some of the best practices right now? And have they changed and evolved over the years?
Yeah, great question. So a lot of what we talk about in that presentation is like building your employer brand and brand with your candidates for the long term. I call it recruiting best practices, play the long game. So we talk a lot about like repeatable processes so that we as recruiters can spend more time consulting our managers, having more phone screens, like doing that work that we're not going to be replaced, to do. And especially for my HR pros in the room, recruiting is like one of the many hats that they wear if they're a department of one. So they want to like, again, streamlined, repeatable best practices because recruiting takes up a huge part of their day and they have other like HR roles to do as well. So yeah, we talked a lot about like mapping out where all of our touch points are with candidates, building Outlook templates and quick parts. Again, only third time I've done that presentation, but every time in the room, there's been somebody that's like, what's an Outlook template or quick part? I just go back and find something else to copy and paste from every time. And it's like, if you're in the middle of like an employee relations issue or whatever, and you have a key role that's open and your manager replies on some candidates you submitted and said they look great, schedule them for interviews, you want your templates and things ready to go so you can fire them out, letting people know next steps are coming. You're going to hear from this, or can you please provide your availability? It's like having to do so much thinking on things that can be repeatable and like repetitive. Like just
Yep.
set yourself up for success with that now so you can move quickly, don't have to think about those things. So again, you can like do more of your strategic HR advising, consulting work. And our hiring managers always need more education and encouragement. So I would rather not be spending time sending emails and things than if I have other more important things to do.
And it's always the managers who say, "Yeah, I've interviewed a bunch. I know how to do this. They're the most confident and capable in the world." And all of a sudden, they're like, "I don't know what to do now." And and they realize certainly when they have in-depth conversations with you and folks at this level that there's a big difference. One thing that I noticed you didn't talk about was AI, which we've talked about a lot. We talked a lot about it a lot, and in the first season, and so where's that playing for you these days? I know there's some usage as a tool, but what are you seeing from a trend standpoint?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I don't touch on it a lot in the current presentation I do because I work for a company that does a lot of government work. So we have Office 365 government version, which has even tighter security and
Oh, wow.
restrictions than if you're using Microsoft Suite at any other company. So we unfortunately, like, we don't have Copilot yet. We can't integrate with a lot of third parties like Calendly. So that stuff takes a lot longer to be vetted before it can come into that ecosystem. But a couple of my favorites were exploring, it's called Indeed Smart Screening. So we are a big Indeed client already. I get a lot of great applicants through there for a lot of our production, maintenance roles, things like that. And that will just help us be able to process those faster. So, again, right now we have an actual recruiter that's calling all the applicants to clarify their shift preferences and years of experience and things like that. So, Indeed Smart Screening, we're in the works with them on that now because it's a tool that candidates can record their responses verbally over video or written, and Indeed can help us bring those people forward that are the best match for this current role, who we want to keep in touch with for a future role that has different education experience shift requirements. So that will help us again move faster and do more of the work that is meaningful to us and screen actually more candidates meaningfully than just getting those basic details. So that's something we're excited about. And then I'm still on my MetaView horse. I used MetaView at the last
Mm.
company I was at. Again, not allowed yet at ATI, but it's an AI note taking tool for recruiting. So you've all probably used Otter, or now Zoom has its own AI note taking tool that will join
Yep.
the meetings. But it's built for recruiting. So we used to go in the back end of MetaView, and for each role we're screening for, build out the like submission template to the manager, and then it would know what to listen for when we're screening our candidates and asking those questions. So I miss it every day because I could be more present talking with my candidates because I'm not typing notes on the side. So I'm like catching more things and like asking better follow up questions because the note taking piece is out of it. And I dread having an 8 screen day because then I need at least an hour or so blocked at the end of my day to get all
Right.
those candidates to the manager, right? Get those submissions, and MetaView within like 2 minutes of ending that call would pop all their answers into the template that I built, after the intake meeting, and give me a nice little summary to send over to the manager with their resume. So highly recommend MetaView for anyone that can check it out there.
Yeah, that sounds great.
It's I like the mix, sort of you're stuck in not using it, so you're forced to do things in a more traditional manner, which I have to imagine helps on the client interaction because they feel like you're listening to them and see that live versus relying upon privacy, dealing with privacy concerns. You don't have to worry about that at this stage. So it's almost a competitive advantage. Have you,
Yeah.
are you running into that too? And back to the faculty side, what are you telling the students these days? Because the class or classes that you're teaching have to touch on some of this stuff, right?
Yeah, and that kind of weaves into your other question too about just like what am I seeing out there if I'm not using it myself. And I do talk with my students a lot about that. So I teach staffing and training at Niagara University for undergrads, and so I'm bringing a lot of what we do at ATI in my 9 to 5 to them. But they do have a lot of questions about, yeah, is AI screening me out, or do I keyword, heavy my resume and things like that. So it's fun to bring what we do. And a lot of companies do still have a live person reviewing every single one. And then we've also heard of like the Workday case that was like going around for a while of like
Oh yeah.
that was automatically ranking and screening people out and things like that. So typically tools and vendors, right, though, are getting better at, if they're going to be launching a tool like that, it's just helping recruiters reach out to the right people faster. It's not automatically rejecting anybody, but it will help bring to the forefront if there are, yeah, keyword matches there, or yeah, again, those shift requirements match, just helping us focus on the best people if we do have 300 applicants to get through. So that tech, yeah, can be really good for that. That's definitely out there. But I do work with my students on like the thought of like fighting the bot or beating the ATS is not what we need to be focused on. It's how
Yep.
we're positioning ourselves with our communication and behavior,
Yep.
networking, still having a good resume, building relationships, things like that. So I work with them to kind of keep that at bay. Tech is not out there to like reject them.
So I
Nice.
got a question that, like kind of gets to the root, right? Like you used to be applying for a job and competing against the people in that city. And then, COVID happened and everything got remote. And now you're competing with the whole country for jobs. So, when you're looking at jobs, you see like there's been 300 clicks or 4,000 people applied, or you see these crazy numbers, which I think was driving the technology to have to like do that. Are you seeing, or do you think there will be a constriction back to, all right, listen, we don't need them to be here in the office, but we do want to recruit in a tighter window so that we don't have to have so many candidates, and then we don't have to lean on technology to get through so many candidates. Does that make sense?
Mm,
It's kind of like the reverse
yeah.
scale thing. Like we scaled to like hire anywhere. Now it's like, oh God, like, is that changing? I feel like it has to, but like, I don't have any data. So I'm going to ask
Y-
you.
Um, yeah, I don't have any real data either, other than I have
I don't need data.
seen a
Give
lot.
me your gut.
Yeah, well, I have seen a lot more postings that say like the posting is coming down on XYZ date. And I didn't see as much of that before. Most companies, as we know, will leave a role posted until someone accepts an offer or sometimes until they start, which is crazy. So I definitely am seeing more of that. And I think it's just due to volume. So even more important to be, in touch with your network, have your job alerts set up. The quicker you get in there, it's,
Yep.
looking like your chances would improve.
Yeah, and in my TA days, you'd have repetitive roles that come up regularly, so you would just leave it up. Even if the cycle was done, you knew another cycle was gonna start in a month, so you left it open to continually feed, not to necessarily be misleading, but you knew by the time that you got around to interviewing that person and putting it in front of the client, they were gonna be back in sync anyway, so why take it down? If you had a good ad and a good response and it was clicking, you would refresh it certainly, but,
Yeah.
you wouldn't take it down.
Yeah, I think that's where that totally makes sense. I think I've seen a couple companies now, I won't name names, but that seem to leave things up and
Oh,
collect
forever.
applicants. And
Hmm.
people, talk and end up saying, like, everyone I know that's applied to this company, nobody's ever heard back. Like, these postings must be fake or whatever. So, like, yeah, you do have to find that balance of having it up for the time that you need. But also, we don't want to leave it up forever if we're disingenuously collecting applicants. So,
Yeah. I
hopefully,
like the
companies
ending
are
post,
doing
like a
what's
coming
best for
down
them.
piece. I like how you put that in there, or you mentioned that because,
Yeah.
or at least, hey, this is January. This is the date that we're posting, and hey, we're looking for the next cycle, the next starting class. If it was let's say a call center class or something like that, the next one starts on April 7th or whatever date it is, because that just at least gave you some clarity of like I'm still in the running for this next window. The horror stories are the ones where like they think they have a job, they quit their other job, and then they show up and oh no, we're pulling that, or you didn't actually sign anything. So just a whole bunch of missteps that go along the way. Anyway, I digress.
I've got
Yeah.
It's
I've
not a
got
big deal.
another Tom's random question that may or may not fit any of this. This stuff just like pops into my head as Claire's talking. Uh, Remember back in the day, like the behavioral questions? It was like you got to prep for behavioral questions. Like, tell me about a time, and like, is that still a thing? Because I feel like I don't hear about that. Like before, it was always like have your behavioral questions. Is it just now table stakes? It's still there. Everyone's just used to it, and it wasn't before. Like, what's the like? I just don't hear about that being like this, like big
Mm.
hairy monster in interviewing, like I used to.
Interesting. So it's funny you say that from a couple different angles because going back to recruiting best practices, one of the things we talk about is how to give a great candidate experience, but having some of those templates and things pre prepped. And one of those things I have for my candidates is an interview prep email with links, what to expect, the job description, the company website, a brief YouTube on the specific business unit they're interviewing for. Because we still do behavioral interviewing at ATI. And certainly, I don't always know all the questions my hiring managers are going to ask, but I will tell my candidates because, again, they're not professional interviewers. I think it's okay to tell people that they need to prepare for situational and behavioral based questions. So I do tell them, like, you will be asked questions, like, tell me about a time or how would you handle. So come prepared with at least three stories that you feel like based on our screen cover, the competencies and things that we're looking for. Um, just so again, you feel better prepared so you're not thrown off when you do get
Yeah.
those questions. But yeah, we definitely ask them. It's still on our
No,
interview
good. Yeah, it's still there.
scorecard,
All
one
right.
of the best ways, yeah, that our managers can um recall after interviews how different folks answered and who they feel, you know, demonstrated through their interview that they would be the most likely to have success on the job.
No, perfect. I mean, I think they're great questions. I just feel like I don't hear about them anymore.
I think it's because it's so mainstream. Like everyone has gravitated towards that method because the proof's in the pudding. If you can talk about it articulately, or I didn't say that right. If you can articulate it clearly, then you have a
Ironic.
better right. I'm just going to make up statements and sound like I'm
Be
talking.
articulate, Tom.
Yeah, be articulate. Uh, but if people can give multiple examples, because I would do the same thing, tell me more, tell me more, tell me more. And if they sounded like they were running in circles, or gave the you've heard this, I'm sure. Well, we did this and we did that and we did this and we did that. I'm like, that's not what I asked you. I'm like, I need to know your
Yeah.
skills, not your teams, not your companies. Are people
Yeah.
still running with those answers? I mean, it's been a few years for me, but
I mean, luckily, I think thanks to the process that I implemented at ATI, our candidates are performing much better in interviews. Oh, we also remind them to ask questions
mm,
because Tom, I know you've been through this. A hiring manager comes back to you and says, I don't think we're going to move forward with that person. It was odd they didn't ask me any questions. And I'm like, oh my God, that's the reason we're passing on somebody. It is annoying that that candidate didn't think of any questions to ask, but I could also, again, they're not professional interviewers. So when I send them all that information, I do also tell them to prepare 2 to 3 questions to try to avoid that reason. But I think what I was going to say though is like having your competencies mapped out for the role is obviously like the most important. So when my managers know what's key for a production supervisor role is like driving change, building trust and accountability, we create 1 to 2 questions, on each of those things. And usually they are telling me about a time questions, right? Because you need somebody to demonstrate a time they built trust or drove change or whatever. Um, so yeah, we still ask them, but we certainly make sure they're like related to the job. But also you're right, it does become so like mainstream. And when you ask questions like that, it actually does make the interview more conversational because you're not just asking yes, no questions and then going, okay, great, next. So actually asking behavioral or situational questions is just actually a really good way to have an in-depth conversation with your candidate.
so I want to flip this to the other side of what you're doing because there's so much you're doing. I'm still curious. Tom asked this originally, like, how do
Yeah,
you
right.
fit this all in? Now you've got Claire's coaching. Where does that fit in? And how do you like? You're looking at the other side, the candidates, whether they're fresh out of college or what have you, helping them find their path and alignment.
Yeah, you're crazy.
Yeah.
How do you do it?
Yeah. Well, this thing is my baby. Does anyone else use a paper planner to keep everything organized? I
So
meet a lot of
my Franklin
friends.
Covey days.
Yeah.
It's my little baby.
Exactly, exactly. So, yeah, the planner is huge. I always start with that because I actually do make a lot of friends that also use Erin Condren products, and then we go down the stationery and pen like rabbit hole. But yeah, having a good planner. Claire's coaching is primarily evenings and weekends. I usually take on like 2 career coaching clients at a time. But a recent example, yeah, because I do help candidates obviously through our process every day. So I still deal with hiring managers and how corporate recruiting works. But then being able to help from that candidate side too, where they're seeing on LinkedIn, like you mentioned, 1,000 people have applied. Do I still apply? And I can actually give them that insight. Yes, you should, because I've talked to other recruiter friends and we've ran like tests on that where LinkedIn can only track who hits the apply button, not who completes applications. So especially if it's redirecting to that company's career page, they don't always know, right, that you finished it. So I'm like, yep. Like it says, I got 100 clicks. I got like 10 qualified applicants. So like, yes, please apply. So just being able to give that good, insider knowledge. Sometimes it's just encouragement, support, and accountability that folks need on their job search journey. But yeah, I have a couple clients right now that are specifically interested in building their LinkedIn presence, which of course is something I'm very passionate about, because they're noticing that a lot of folks that are open to work right now on LinkedIn are posting over and over that they're open to work. I'm ready for hire. I'm open to work. I'm looking for these roles. And luckily, my clients kind of picked up on this and wanted my input. They're like, it seems like we're just shouting into a void when we're posting those same types of posts over and over and over. It actually doesn't give any insight to the success we've had in the past. What do I specialize in? What are our skills? So we're reaching all these people's news feeds saying we're open to work, but there's no good information there about what we do and our personal brands and things like that. So they're like, how can I, create better posts or create better connections or leave more thoughtful comments that will help differentiate me in my search from just posting that I'm open to work. So that kind of became its own tangent. Sorry, Tom, but that's been a hot topic with a couple of my clients lately. And I'm really glad that they want to get into that because with so many people looking right now, those are good things, the relationship building, networking, communication, and behavior to really be focusing on right now.
Well, it's really intriguing because you see so many people, like the three of us network a lot, and so you've got tons and tons of connections of people that you've talked to, connected with, had meaningful relationships with, and so forth. But then you see these other folks who are just starting their LinkedIn journey, even if they've been on it for 10 years and they've got like 413 connections and nothing posted other than reposts of a friend's stuff. And so it's, how do you get them comfortable sort of stepping out of that? If there was one thing that you gave them as a motivational piece to get them going, what would that sound like?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's one of the most fun parts about being a coach is we do it together. Because you're really, if you've never done it before, you're scared of hitting that blue post or submit button. You're like, people are going to think this is silly, or I don't know what I'm talking about, or like, no one's going to care, or whatever. Those things might go through your head. Or a lot of thoughts I hear from my clients too are like, well, I don't want to brag and share what I'm doing. I'm like, no, literally, that's what LinkedIn is for. Don't think of it as bragging. It's updating your community on your skills and strengths. They want to know what you're up to. So, yeah, so we do it together. So I'm like, go ahead, take a stab at it. And they usually ask me, well, what should I say now? I'm like, what do you want to say? So I try to get them to do it. Um, but yeah, it's a lot of like, is this good? Is this right? And I'm like, it represents you well. Of course, I do have some tips on how to, yeah, like phrase some things, but yeah, they feel really good like posting it when we do it together. So sometimes it is just like that confidence and yeah, what goes into it? What should I highlight? Like just getting an outside perspective. So I love to be that.
How
That's all.
many followers should you have before you start just posting pictures of yourself and your kids as the main content? Is it like 10,000, 200? Just
Don't get me started.
I mean, it's a totally
No
sarcastic comment,
comment.
but, like, I totally I was looking the other day, I was like, "At what point are you allowed to do that?" Like, when does that become, like, go from cringe to, like, "Ooh, that's a brand." Like,
I mean,
I don't know. I feel like
I don't
there's,
know.
like
For me, never. I clearly have no like poker face when you're bringing this up. But I tell people too, I'm very realistic about LinkedIn. They come to know me as the person who like, "Oh my god, I love it." And I do because I focus on the positive that you can get from it.
Yep,
But of course, I've been wanting to throw my laptop out the window lately. Like
yep,
that's why I tell people hide the posts that you're not there to see. LinkedIn is social media. We can use it whatever way we want. I usually do personally hide a lot of people's
yep,
family updates and things because if I
yep,
know you that way, I'll see it on your Instagram or you'll text me the photos
yep,
or whatever. So random people I don't know, that's not the type of information that I want to see in my morning 10-minute scroll. I want it to be a good use of my time. So I
yep,
do spend time liking and commenting on the things I want to see more of from the people I want to see more of and hiding the posts that I don't personally find interesting because yeah, your newsfeed will just get so clogged up with whatever people want to do and power to them. Do whatever you want to do. If you feel it represents you well and is going to help you attract opportunities to yourself, I'll get off my soapbox now. But for me, it's not those personal updates. That has not helped me attract opportunities to myself. So that's just my opinion.
I mean, I asked, that's why you're on the show. I wanna hear that opinion.
I'm the wrong person to ask about silly stuff. So
Yeah,
I post
I'll
silly crap all
we'll
the
pause
time.
it there.
Tom, you had some articles that I think we were brainstorming about. One of those had to do with some lost jobs, I think, right? What were we going to bring in here?
Let me see. I was trying to find, Adam Karpiak, you know that guy?
Yeah,
Oh
I know the
yeah.
name. Yeah.
He had this post about like probably what's on LinkedIn, and like I can't find it like really quickly. I'll have to go back. I'll add it in later, but like, oh my God, it's like the funniest thing, and it's exactly what we're talking about. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, go, go,
I
go.
was It's just something else that made me think of while we're on this topic of like LinkedIn and job searchers. It's like because so many more people are in the market right now, I've noticed there's so many more people, influencers or whatever, creating a lot of that like fear mongering and like that the market is so tough and that's why you got to beat the ATS or you got to do this or that. And luckily, I follow a few really good recruiters like dismantling that stuff every day. Like when someone shares a weird story, like it just doesn't sit right with you, like
Yep.
challenge them on it. I'm trying to think of the specific example, but she literally replied to this person's post and was like, "Oh, tell me how you used this software to like reject or review your applicants." And I guess the person literally told her like, "Oh, I copy and pasted the post from somebody else." Or they're like, "Oh, I don't know. I actually have never used that tool." Or they reply with like a vague whatever. It's like, fact check your sources, people. Like, don't believe everything that you see. Don't let it get you spinning and spinning and, giving you thoughts that aren't helpful for your search. Like, you really have to control how much you're like taking in from LinkedIn. So, fact check through your
Yeah.
sources.
Listen to
I
live people.
I did find it, and it'll be a good transition to get off the LinkedIn, but it said some people lost an hour. All right, so the setup is it was just daylight savings time. We're recording on like Monday or Tuesday or somewhere. It was just daylight savings time. It was some people lost an hour. Winners adjust. Here's what daylight savings taught me about B2B sales. LinkedIn, probably.
Oh boy.
Like that, like I like being relevant, but like there is also a fine line of that, like you don't have to turn every single thing that happens into a business analogy. I feel like I do it a lot, but also like there's like, I don't know, like my LinkedIn feed is like way too much of that. So now I'm like just not doing that at all. But anyways,
Yeah, or just hide those posts
just
because
some
they're
stuff.
not serving you. They're all
Yeah.
starting to look the same. They're not helpful anymore. Like, yeah, so people can see through that. So it's, yeah, up to you if that's
Yeah.
your brand, but
Well, this is
people
why you
can
need a
tell.
coach. Stuff's changing all the time. Like you got to stay up on it.
I try to
Yeah, and
mute
I
some
love to
things,
help.
but yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah, I love to help people. I always say, like, use your authentic personality and voice. Like on
Yep.
LinkedIn, we don't need to only post in a suit just
Yep.
because LinkedIn is social media for career advancement. We don't need to talk in a way we wouldn't talk if someone met us in person. So it's like, don't post things just because you think you should or you saw someone else do it.
Yep.
Definitely don't copy and paste. Again, karma in the universe is a real thing. Like the LinkedIn universe knows your intentions when you put that post
I feel
out.
like it does. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just not gonna come
Yeah.
back and serve you the way you'd like it to if you're not doing it from a good place.
No,
That's
no.
yeah.
All right, Tom. So you asked me, I've got 2 articles. Which one do you guys want to talk about? I'll give you the choice. The US economy losing 92,000 jobs. Exciting. Or RTO mandates are actually soft layoffs. What do you guys want to dig into? I know
I'm gonna let Claire
my
choose.
choice. Claire, the guest of honor.
I have thoughts on either one. Wherever you wanna start.
All right, soft layoffs. Do you know the term soft layoffs? Because I love bringing up terms that people make up to make people like me click it and read the article.
I like texting Tom random phrases that I hear from people that make no sense. And he's like, what the hell is that?
It literally ruins me for like 30 minutes after I see one of those. I'm just like completely wracked. I'm just like, oh God. Like
Yeah, it's so
soft
rage
layoffs.
baity.
Like, God,
Yeah.
shut up. So let's talk about it. do you think, opinion, we can go around, Claire, you can lead us off, like return to office. Do you think companies are doing that to do quote unquote soft layoffs? Do you think part of it is to thin the herd and make people leave? So they do define soft layoff as we're not going to fire you. We're going to make you miserable or make something so not good that you leave on your own. You self-select out. So how much of that do you think is actually happening? And how much do you think they actually just want you there so they can control you?
Mm. Um, I I don't have a lot of information from my network to go by on the soft layoff piece. So I'm not sure. I'm sure it's something they think about. Like we could reduce headcount as part of this. Um, but for most, ATI went through a return to office initiative for some of our positions as well. I was hired remote and very grateful to maintain that. But there are folks that who are closer to a facility that were hybrid are now going back 5 days a week. And I've talked to folks in my network that have had a similar experience to what I've seen at ATI, whereas the reasoning was explained more as that increased collaboration and communication, and or it's something to mirror what main clients and customers are doing, so companies think they should be doing that as well. So maybe that's something that's like a side effect of it, because certainly we've had top talent, especially women and caretakers, don't get me started on that, leave for roles where they stay hybrid. And I'm like, oh, was 2 days a week worth losing that person with all that knowledge and great reviews from everybody and things like that? But I digress. So it seems to be explained in a different way. And I do think
Hmm.
executives think it is helping collaboration and communication, but the way it's being done usually like isn't actually fostering that, even though they're saying this is why we're doing it.
Yeah, intent, and then there's also execution. Like, and you need to
Right.
nail both in this particular topic. Tom,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you want to weigh in, or do you want me to give you a stat that might help
I'm gonna agree
help
mostly.
change
I
your
think
opinion?
the I doubt that there's a ton that are doing it with the intention of getting people to push out. There are some, I'm sure of it. But I think for the most part, it's a control and a trust issue that somebody on some senior level has decided, I don't think they're working as hard. I don't think they're producing as much as they would be as if they were in office. And again, to Claire's point, you're going to lose more people than what you anticipate because they've now factored in it takes me 45 minutes to get in, 45 minutes to get out. I've got to drop things off here and there and navigate traffic on the way in and on the way out. And then weather for us in the Northeast or any snowbound area, all sorts of complicating factors. And other people are going to be like the really talented ones. They're going to
Have
find them.
options.
Yeah. Somebody's going to pick them up. All they got to say is, I'm available. They're going to dip into their network. And so, what's the costs of that? Right. Could you say
Yeah.
recommended twice a week or once a
Yep.
week? Let's just do once. So yeah, I don't think it's necessarily from a soft layoff standpoint, but I do think there's a control and trust issue that's tied to it.
And I just want to say again, if you're going to tell your staff the reasoning is we need to, yeah, move faster or spend more time together, you have to be careful again with what your messaging is, with like what is happening in reality. Like if company is continuing to announce record quarters and record years, that doesn't match up with what you're telling people why they need to come back to
Yes.
the office.
Yeah.
Because we have proven over the past 5 years that we're working better, faster, and more collaboratively in a hybrid or remote environment because the company has grown this much. So that's tough too when like you're hearing it as this is why, but we just announced a record quarter.
Yep.
And also using I've heard executives use things like, well, prior to COVID, we came in every day. If you're going to do an RTO, you need to be forward thinking for your reasoning, not mentioning things that happened in the past
What's my
because,
benefit for coming into the office?
Right.
Like,
Give me a reason to come in. Don't
don't
right,
just
just
make me
tell
come
me
in
saying
and
we're
do
more
just
Zoom
productive.
calls.
Mhm.
Right. If somebody's going to sit in a cube on a Zoom thing all day long for 8 hours, why'd you have them come
yeah.
in? They didn't interact with anybody.
So you know you're losing the narrative when you start saying, well, because we did it before that way,
Yeah.
before COVID, we should probably come up with a better reason if that's what we're going to say, because most companies didn't use Microsoft Teams prior to COVID. Now we have 5 years of experience using Microsoft Teams. So we absolutely can collaborate and communicate, not together.
Tom, we need a Microsoft ad so we can make some money off of that. There was like 6 plugs in one sentence.
I would take a Microsoft ad. All right, do you guys want to hear some stats that came out of this article that are like
Love it.
totally backed up? Because this whole conversation is exactly the conversation. Like, this is where I've always been. So like, I'm totally with all of you. According to a Bamboo HR survey, 25%, that's 1 in 4 VP and C-suite admitted they had hoped RTO would cause voluntary turnover. A quarter. HR side, 18% of HR professionals admitted the same thing. Like, that's striking to me. Like, My first thought is like, I want to see this survey and how big it is. Like, is it like 30 people? And I feel like Bamboo HR, I can trust their surveys, but also like, is it in, context or out? Because like those numbers are freaking me out. Like that's crazy. Like that's way too big, right? Like,
well, and from a moral compass, it's disappointing. Like if you need to reduce, then do it the right way, right?
Yeah.
If your P&L statement is looking like it's going to go in the tank unless you make some drastic changes, then do it that way. Don't sugarcoat it and sort of come up with this ass backwards way of eliminating headcount, because you're going to lose the people that you really want to keep, and trust is out the window, and so culture becomes like nothing. Nobody's going to trust you ever again.
I was just going to say the trust factor, Tom. It's better for your employer brand in the long run to handle a drastic change well than doing something that's perceived as kind of schemy because you just don't want to do the big hard thing.
do companies even care about the trust factor when there's 300 people vying for any job they have open? I feel like I feel like we expanded to trying to be so much better, and now the motivation for companies to be so much better is constricting again because of these markets. And like that's what truly scares me about the world work right now.
Yeah, I agree. Going back to like the moral compass though,
Yep.
Tom,
I'm so depressing today. I'm sorry.
like the right just the right people, the right companies will prevail at
Right.
this
Yes.
by doing the right thing. Because yeah, I'm seeing horror stories every day from my network too about like horrid interactions they're having with recruiters. And I'm like, I think recruiters think they can behave this way because of the supply and demand and oh that I have so many applicants and whatever. And it's like, again, your personal brand, your employer brand like follows you everywhere you go. Again, I'm just a big believer in karma in the universe. So
Yep.
That's the recruiter that's had a different job, 9 jobs in 6 years, and touts their experience. Like, yeah, but keep a
yeah.
job. Then let's talk.
This has been a really good conversation. I have one outward remaining. Tom started getting there, and then we went into like one of your 17 jobs that you do. But I want to land this conversation with like Claire, you're like really impressive, right? Like you do all these things. Like what drives you? Like what's the force and the energy that drives you? You're like, oh, where do I find time for Claire's coaching? That's just nights and weekends. You know, like what drives you? Like how do you tap into that? And for somebody that may be looking at that going, how do I do that? Like, can you give some tips? I know you showed your book, but
And keep in mind, we started this conversation of her talking about Florida being down there so she can take walks with her dog and like enjoy this weather. So there
she's
is
dropping breadcrumbs.
right. Like I have balance is what's coming across here, but I don't know where you fit it all either. I'm dying to know.
Yeah, I mean, not to sound corny, but everyone who knows me knows this is the truth. Like, I am driven by elevating and uplifting the next generation of HR leaders. And everyone I know is like, when are you going to get that tattooed on you? As a joke. And I'm like, probably not tattooed, but I did have stickers made. So if anyone would like an Elevate and Uplift HR sticker, I'll be happy to send it to you.
I would
I
like
brought
one.
them to Mile High SHRM. But yeah, my top strengths in like strengths finders are like learning and connecting. And yeah, I truly just think of like how I guess fortunate I've been in my journey because I love to learn and I'm focused on professional development and how well that served me if I want to like move up and be successful in my career. So being able to meet with current students and some of them have just never had anybody that's talked to them on what it's going to be like to start their first role or gain credibility or how important being curious and learning is going to help them on their journey because I've been in interviews and networking conversations where I'm like, I don't know what the heck's going on. But once I started listening to podcasts or going to my local chapter events, you make better connections too. And you have like more nuggets you can pull into the conversation, connections from something you heard or read or saw. So yeah, I just think back to like everything I wish I had when I was in college and what I figured out along the way that's helped me be successful. And I actually really do want a badass next generation of HR leaders, modern HR pros that care about people and want to develop themselves and stay up to date. So that's what I want to see. So I'm going to try to help. develop that.
Love it. Straight from the heart. I mean, I
Yeah.
asked for two reasons. One was secret, which I didn't tell you about yet, but one is I genuinely don't understand how you do it, and it's very impressive. So, two, when I first started following you on Twitter 5 years ago, 6 years ago, whatever, you gave the exact same answer, that you care passionately about uplifting the next generation, making sure the next generation is successful, and that's really that that's impressive. Like that's a North Star.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really fun. I don't really have a good answer to the do it all. I do have a post on my blog that's called time management. So if anyone's curious about my specific setup, I actually mapped it out on my blog, just how I plan out my weeks and time block and things. But also, we all have priorities, right? And that's okay. I'm in my 30s, I have no kids. So we all only have so much time in the day. So it's something else I like working with my career coaching clients on too. Where are you? Where do you want to go? How can we start making those steps given everyone has a different situation? But the worst thing is to tell yourself that I don't have time or I won't be able to do that. Because then you won't be able to fulfill your vision of elevate and uplift or whatever it is. So at least figure out what you could do for you.
I like that mantra. I've always balked at people said, "I don't have time." I'm like, "You have time. You're choosing to do other things." We get caught in reels, we get caught in drama, we get caught in whatever else. It's just a matter of, do I wanna be on the couch or do I wanna be out living life and helping other people? And so clearly for you, it's helping everyone and inspiring folks, and that probably recharges your battery more than anything.
That's it.
For sure.
Awesome.
Excellent,
Well,
Claire. Thank you. Thanks for coming
So
back.
good to see you both. This was fun.
yeah, we're so thrilled that we got you on. Sorry we had some tech difficulties that all of you didn't get to witness, but it was one of those oddities. We're like, "What's happening here?" So glad
We
we got
made it.
everything reset. Yeah.
It was excellent. Good to be back with you, Tom. Claire, absolute pleasure as always. We'll post links to everything. Uh, Watch this, Claire, if you haven't watched all of our new episodes. We put a lot of fun post production, so we'll have links to everything in there and probably some goofy stuff along the way. So we'll have fun with this one. Everybody, thank you for tuning into This Meeting Should Have Been a Podcast. Tom, any final last words? And send
No,
us
I think
off.
keep hunting out there for opportunities to share, to embrace your knowledge. As Claire's mantras out there, I think just lean into it. Karma's a really good thing. You put that energy out there, it's going to come back for you.
There you go. Till next time.
Ciao.